So I'm here today. I came grocery shopping and I was pulling into my parking spot and you were driving away and you saw me and you flagged me down and you said, "Hey, Miss Grace, remember me?" And I was so amazed that we haven't seen each other in several years, right?
No,
Probably
it's been a
over
long
6 years or even more than 6 years. And we met at a sober living facility. We haven't seen each other since. Now, you started telling me about your testimony, and I asked you, would you be willing to share it? And you said, of course. So tell me a little bit about yourself. What have you been doing?
I have been clean since, since 2013. I'm creeping up on, I think, 13 years. I was an active addiction. I was addicted to crack cocaine. I went to treatment. And once I got out of treatment, I went to sober living, and that's where I met my friend here with sober living. But I've continued to go to the same church that I went to ever since then. I've been clean. I've had some really successful jobs and done some great things in life.
Now, when we met, you were staying at the sober living facility.
I was.
Because you were into some things that you shouldn't have been doing, right?
Yeah, I had just got out of drug treatment, and I had been in drug treatment for 6 months, and I completed successfully. But when I come out of drug treatment, I wanted a place to go that had a little bit of structure that could help me before I went out on my own. Mm-hmm. So that's why I was there.
You said 2013?
2013.
So that's about probably how long it's been since I seen you, right?
I seen you probably in 2014. I entered drug treatment in 2013.
Okay. That's a long time. That's 10 years ago.
It's over 10 years.
My goodness sake. So what have you been doing since I last saw you?
I just working, and enjoying being a grandma.
Now, how many grandchildren do you have?
I have 6.
Now, I remember you because I used to go and do comedy workshops at the sober living facility, and you used to participate in some of the skits, and you were very good at it.
What was so funny was the first day that you came, I was mad because it was our free time, and I didn't want to go downstairs. I had never been to one of your little comedy things, and I was mad because I didn't want to go. But then after I got down there, it was so much fun. Laughed and laughed and laughed. After that, I was so glad we went.
So what has God been doing for you in your life?
I've just excelled at everything I've done in my jobs. I've had some great supervisor positions. I've had some on-site manager positions where I was the top dog. I am currently an engineer for a major company. So I'm just, it's good.
Life has been good, huh? God has blessed you.
He's blessed me.
Now, what was it like when you were in your addiction stage?
Oh, it was horrible. Being on the streets all the time, having nowhere to go, being sometimes, depending on what time of year it was, being cold, being hungry. I mean, just horrible when you're out there in the heat of summer and there's nowhere to get anything to drink, nowhere for you to use the bathroom. It's really hard.
Was that kind of like your bottom?
That was my rock bottom. It was.
Uh-huh. And how long were you homeless?
Oh, probably 6 to 7 months.
Okay. So at least it didn't stretch into years, right?
No, it didn't.
Now, what do you want people to know about being homeless?
That you just got to keep trying. Things don't always happen overnight, but you just got to keep pushing. You got to keep trying. You got to trust in God, and you got to have faith.
Right, because a lot of times people see a homeless individual and they just assume the worst, that there's no nothing good in that person, but
they judge a lot of homeless people as well. Like they assume everybody homeless, it's because they're on drugs or they're alcoholics, and that's not always the truth either.
Mm-hmm. And what was it like kicking your habit?
Actually, it wasn't really hard for me because I knew I was done.
What was the one thing that finally said to you, I'm done?
My granddaughter, she was 5 years old, and she came and she gave me a bag of snacks. And she said, Grandma, she said, do you know how bad it hurts? I can't even lay in a bed with you and watch SpongeBob anymore. She said, just pick a house and get it together. And it was really crazy because the very next day, the police pulled up and they said, they knew me by first name basis. And they said, Sandra, they said, you have a warrant. And I said, no, I don't. And they said, yes, you do. And I said, well, I'm tired. Open the car door. I mean, I literally got in the cop car myself. I knew I was done. So he ended up, when I got in the cop car, he pulled drugs out. They weren't mine. They weren't mine. I had nothing on me. And he kind of used that to say, hey, we're either going to charge you with possession or you can bust people for us. And that really happened. And I told him, I don't care. Take me to the jail because I will get court. I didn't have any insurance. And I had burned every bridge with my family and people who were close to me. So court-ordered treatment was the best thing for me. And I knew that's what I would get. So I told him, take me to the jail and charge me. So when I was blessed, that's what happened. I went to, I don't mention the place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went to 6 months inpatient court-ordered treatment. I've been clean ever since.
Now, what led to you using drugs in the first place?
Probably just life's, one thing, not having any coping skills. I have bipolar disorder, and that was another thing because I wasn't on medication. So it was just getting in a bad depression and using the drugs for a coping skill, and it just went from bad to worse.
Now, tell me, I know you've been through a lot of struggles, bad things happen in your life, but as a child, do you have a fond memory?
No, I had a very dysfunctional family. It was horrible.
So your parents weren't ideal?
No, argued all the time. So
do you think that kind of helped lead you into addiction?
It did, because I struggled with drug addiction. I'm 59 years old right now, so I've struggled with a drug addiction off and on my entire life. And I have a pattern of stay clean, maybe 20 years relapse. Stay clean, 20 years relapse. So now that I know that and I'm aware of it, I have to really pay attention when that time starts creeping up at how I'm thinking, how I'm acting, how I'm living, who I'm hanging with.
So you recognize that?
Yeah, it's a lifelong process. We are never cured.
And you're trying to stay away from individuals that might kind of pull you down?
Somewhat. I do help. I have some good resources, so I don't go to these people by myself, but I have some really good resources. So when people want to get in treatment and they want help, I do help them get in it.
Okay.
So,
well, it's kind of sad that, unfortunately, you don't have any fond memories from your childhood. That's very sad, isn't it?
It is. It's horrible.
Because children should not ever have to say that, right?
Right.
They should have loving parents, but that's not always the case,
That's
right?
not the case, but you can't stay stuck in it your entire life, because you have to ask yourself sometimes: if this is something, I feel like if this is something I cannot change, why worry about it? You have to ask yourself. All I can do is change me and the way I am today and the way I think.
And are your parents still alive?
They're not. They're both passed away. And then you got to think too. There had to have been something in their life that made them that way as well.
Right.
So you have to
So
forgive.
they were a product of their own upbringing, right?
So, like I said, you have to forgive, because until you forgive them, you'll never be happy.
Right. I just thought it was so amazing. Listen, I came from church. I just got out of church, and I always tell God, okay, after church, I always say, Lord, where do you want me to go? Where should I go?
He sent you to Kroger's this morning.
And I needed to come and return a cantaloupe that I bought yesterday that turned out not very good. And even though it was only like $4, I said to my husband, I'm not gonna throw this away and not get my
Right.
money back,
That's
you
why I
know.
always get the ones that's already cut up in the bowls that you can see.
Yeah. So I said, well, okay, I'm gonna go and return this cantaloupe. And I said, and what else are you gonna have me run into today, Lord? And here I'm pulling into the parking lot, and you were driving away, and you rolled your window down, and you said, hey, Miss
Yeah.
Grace. And at first I didn't recognize you because you changed your hair.
I seen that logo on the side.
Yeah.
I said, that is her.
And I said, oh my goodness, it's Sandra. I'm so thankful that I finally got to see you. Sometimes you leave me messages on social media,
Yeah, I
But
go
this-
on your page a lot and see what you're up to.
but this is the first time seeing you in about 14
Yep.
or 10 years, something like that. Now, in closing, what do you want people to know about God?
He's proven to me time and time again that he's there, that he cares, and that he will never shut one door without opening another.
Hmm.
But we have to do our part too.
Right.
We have to do our part.
So where are you heading to now?
I am going over here to Gabe's to clothes shop.
Oh, hey, that sounds like a good place to hang out for a few hours. Well, Sandra, I want to thank you so much for sharing your testimony, and I hope you continue to stay in touch with me.
I will.
And I pray, Sandra, that God continues to keep you lifted up, that He continues opening doors of opportunities, that He gives you the strength to be able to say no when bad situations arise and you feel you're being
Yeah.
pulled into something that you don't want to. Because, listen, Satan is going to be there at every turn, and he's not going to want to waste anything on you. He's going to want to pull you back into your old lifestyle. You just have to be strong enough to be able to say, get away from me, Satan.
Yeah.
I'm not part of you anymore, right?
Right.
All right, sweetie, I know you got places you got to go, and I got to go return my bad cantaloupe. I'm going to say, give me my money back.
For my cantaloupe. All right.
Okay. Thank you, sweetie.
All right. You're welcome.